Hi, welcome back. Today I have my friend Sandra that I will be interviewing. She is from Honduras. She learned English over here. Sandra, how old were you when you moved here?
I was 8 years old.
8 years old. So what grade were you
I
in?
came I came in the middle of third grade and
Oh,
I studied in Houston ISD in Lyons Elementary.
okay. Um, okay, so now on to our interview questions. Were there any obstacles that you faced when you were learning English, especially when you moved here?
Yeah, so I had a little bit of an advantage because back in Honduras I was in a bilingual school, so I knew some English coming here, but definitely the biggest obstacle was how to speak actual English like a native, especially
Mm-hmm.
the pronunciation of the words here.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's kind of true for all people who try to learn a new language. Usually, speaking is harder than reading and writing it. So I remember there was a time in my fifth grade class when I was asking my teacher a question, but she couldn't understand what I was saying. So I kept asking, but she didn't get what my question was. And one of my guy friends in the class tried to help to see like what I was saying, but they never understood what I was trying to say. So it was really frustrating, like not being able to communicate with people because of my accent.
Yeah. And in that case, it was more of the accent, not so much of your your English vocabulary.
Yeah, it was more like I didn't know how to pronounce the words right. So I guess whenever I was speaking with people, they didn't understand what I was trying to say.
Yeah. And I think and it can be hard too, like especially like for myself, like I grew up with my mom having an accent, so I think people who aren't surrounded by people with accents because their ears don't practice hearing English and other accents, I think it makes it more difficult for them to try to understand, especially when it's a thicker accent. Um, but yeah. Um,
Yeah, for sure.
was it easier or did you find it hard when you were trying to learn how to read? Because I know the Spanish
I
alphabet is different, is sounds different, but sometimes similar from ours.
Yeah, I actually thought it was way easier reading it than speaking it and writing it,
Mhm.
just because I really like to read a lot back in Honduras.
Yeah.
So like I was exposed to some English literature. So whenever I came here, like a lot of my teachers gave me a lot of homework with books to read. So
Mhm.
just like having practice that already wasn't that hard for me. And even if like I came across words that I didn't know, I just used a dictionary or Google to find out what they meant.
Yeah. And then going back to you said you did bilingual in Honduras. Do you think having had that prior exposure to English, do you think that helped you coming over here? Because I'm sure here they probably had you when you were in ESL. They probably had you almost in like a complete English class to try to expose you more.
Actually, so through third to fourth grade,
Mhm.
I was actually in Spanish classes, and then they
Okay.
used to speak a little bit of English in them, but most
Mhm.
of them were just all Spanish. It wasn't until I entered fifth grade that I moved to Cyprus,
Mhm.
and I was put in it was still ESL, but it was just like class was completely in English that I really like got to practice more my
Oh,
English skills. But
that's
it definitely did help that I had prior knowledge
yeah,
of English before.
yeah. And then with the peers that you have, did any of them have like, or do you know if any of them had exposure like you did?
They seem to know how to pronounce things better than me, so I guess like before they were just born here, or I'm not sure what the situation was.
Mhm.
But yeah, like I was one of the ones where like I had a hard time speaking it still compared to my other classmates.
Okay. Now, I don't know how much you were able to recall about how your teacher taught, but are there some things that your teacher um, used to help you learn, or any strategies that she gave y'all to try to learn English better? I guess you could say that you felt really helped you a lot.
Yeah, so I remember in fifth grade we used to do a lot of group work.
Mhm.
So a lot of the uh, people that were in my class were also Hispanic. So
Mhm.
it kind of helped that I could, if I didn't know how to say something in English, I could just ask them and then they would help me. And I know whenever they taught their classes, they would speak slower and
Mhm.
they had a lot of pictures and storytelling in their lessons. So that helped me a lot, being able to understand what they were trying to teach me.
Yeah. And it's funny that you mentioned the pictures because just the other day I was talking to a mentor of mine that is actually used to teach ESL, and she was telling me how pictures and even just having visuals in the classroom for kids to look at really helps a lot to learn the vocabulary. And I think sometimes we forget that and we think like, oh, they just need to see the word, but being able to see a picture and make the connection between the picture and the word is more helpful than sometimes we think it is.
Yeah, and for me, definitely, because I'm a visual learner,
Mm-hmm.
so I definitely remember the words better whenever I looked at a picture of them.
Yeah. Um, Now, is there anything that your teacher did that you think that um or that you would have had liked for her to have done differently?
I don't think so. I feel like they did a really good job
Mhm.
trying to teach us how to be native speakers.
Mhm.
And I think it helped me a lot that my dad was also a teacher. So
Mhm.
whenever I had questions about homework or anything, he would just help me. And then he knew how to teach the way other teachers taught. So that helped me a lot.
Yeah, and I'm sure that was a big plus for you that maybe some of your peers didn't have, having a parent who knows some of the strategies that teachers mostly know that maybe parents who don't have the teaching background know, right?
Yeah, and I know he knew a lot of English better than us because he came here before me and
Mhm.
my two brothers and my mom came. So
Yeah.
he helped us a lot to adjust. So
That's
it helped like having him there already knowing the system here.
mhm. That's good. Okay, and then my last question is, what are some things that you think a teacher could do to help English learners? So, like knowing what you went through and what your teachers did, what kind of advice would you give? For example, like myself, that I want to be ESL and bilingual, or even other teachers who want to be ESL and bilingual, what advice would you give them to help their students?
So for sure, try to motivate them to speak up and participate in class. Because I know that was a big deal with me. I was kind of shy and quiet whenever I was still learning English.
Mm-hmm.
And I had some experiences where like some people, even though maybe they didn't mean it, but they made fun of the way I pronounce words.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of like stuck with me, and I was kind of afraid to like keep speaking.
Yeah.
Because I knew I wasn't pronouncing things how they were supposed to be pronounced.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely, like if um, they encourage the kids to keep trying, even though they're getting things wrong, and correcting them in a good way,
Mm-hmm.
that would help. And I remember I had one teacher that taught my world culture studies class, where she would have me read a lot of her textbooks out loud in class. So
Mm-hmm.
even though like my reading wasn't perfect, she still corrected me whenever I read something wrong, and she helped me out. So I
Mm-hmm.
feel like that really helped to get me more fluently speaking English.
Yeah. And I think too, like even if the students aren't ESL, I think sometimes students who were born here and just grew up speaking English, I think sometimes they hesitate to participate because they're afraid of peers either laughing at how they pronounce something, like you said, or they're just scared to even raise their hand. And I think, like you said, it goes to as the teachers to motivate them, and in this case for all students to be okay participating in class and not being worried about what others will think of them, because at the end of the day that they're the ones that need to learn it, you know.
Yeah, and I feel like the more you get used to doing stuff like that and participating, the more comfortable you get,
Mm-hmm.
and the better your English gets as you keep going.
Yeah. And I think it's all about confidence as well, like being comfortable and being confident that at the end of the day, like the work that you put in will be paid off, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Sandra, for allowing me to interview, and I hope you all enjoyed.